In just 10 minutes, dive into the wildest revelations from Stephen Bartlett's explosive talk with ex-NYPD rogue cop Mike Dowd on the Diary of a CEO. Sex on duty, stealing from corpses, dealing drugs, Dowd bears it all. Don't miss 10 shocking takeaways in this cop corruption saga that'll grip you till the final second. Takeaway 1. Cops had sex on duty. Mike Dowd openly shares that sexual favors were a real perk for some corrupt cops like him. He says it was easy to use their authority to get women to sleep with them, and it happened more than people might think. One wild moment he recalls is having sex with a woman in the back of his police car while on patrol, and her body accidentally hit the siren button at 3 a.m., making a loud noise in a quiet courtyard. He also brings up a recent scandal where a police chief paid a female lieutenant $200,000 in overtime cash just to have sex with her, showing this still happens today. For example, Mike describes driving his patrol car late at night, a woman waving hello from the street, him pulling over, and then taking her to the back seat for sex, treating it like a normal part of his shift. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 2, stealing porn and beer. Mike didn't just steal money. He took weird stuff like porn collections and beer from crime scenes he worked. He tells a story about a murder in Brooklyn where he found a dead guy on a couch with a knife in his side. And while waiting for detectives, he popped in a VCR tape and saw porn, then took the whole collection for himself. At the same scene, he went downstairs to a bodega, told the owner he'd be there a while, and got a free 6-pack of Coors Light to drink with his partner. His boss almost busted him when she ordered all beer bottles fingerprinted, including the ones he'd hidden in the fridge. But he talked his way out of it. For example, at that hot July murder scene with no air conditioning, Mike rummaged around, hit play on the VCR, watched some adult scenes, and later snuck the tapes to his car while sipping a cold beer. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 3, drug dealing as a cop. Mike went from taxing drug dealers to becoming a dealer himself, a big shift in his corrupt career. It started when his partner took cocaine home from a scene and later handed Mike a couple $100, saying they'd sell it instead of tossing it. Soon, Mike was grabbing drugs like cocaine and heroin from crime scenes and selling them through his contacts, like a guy at an auto shop. He even started buying drugs cheap from dealers to resell at a profit, calling himself a market maker in the drug world. For example, at a scene with a dead guy shot through the eye hole, Mike stuffed a laundry bag with heroin and cocaine, hid it in a garbage pail as his sergeant approached, then later drove it to his drug-dealing friend's shop to turn it into cash. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 4, biggest heist was $40,000. Mike's biggest single haul was $40,000 in cash, a huge amount compared to his $20,000 yearly cop salary. He calls it a score, meaning a one-time grab, not a steady gig, and it happened in East New York, where drugs were everywhere. He says 9 out of 10 jobs there tied back to drugs, giving him lots of chances to steal. Once he missed out on $150,000 when bandits robbed a dealer he protected, and other cops took the leftovers he didn't grab. For example, during a robbery at Adam Diaz's spot, thieves left piles of cash behind, and Diaz told Mike he should have taken it. But Mike watched as arriving officers pocketed it instead, leaving him with regret. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 5, death threats from cops. Mike got death threats from a fellow officer after snitching on him to internal affairs, showing how dangerous it was to break the blue wall of silence. The guy, a lieutenant, was mad because Mike saw him at a crack house and reported it, leading to daily 2:30 a.m. calls threatening to shoot Mike in the head. Mike got fed up and dared him to fight in person, even taunting him about sleeping with his wife. But the calls kept coming for a month. Later, he caught the guy again and gave him summonses, adding fuel to the feud. For example, one night the lieutenant called and said he'd put a bullet in Mike's head while he stood by his window, making Mike wonder if the guy was watching him right then. We're halfway through the video. Thank you for sticking with us this far. If you're enjoying it, please give us a thumbs up and share it in your WhatsApp groups. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to comment below. To see more videos like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Now let's continue with the video. Takeaway 6, protecting drug gangs. Mike made big money, $8,000 a week, protecting drug gangs like La Compañía and Adam Diaz. way more than his 300 weekly cop pay. With La Compañía, a Dominican group running bodega drug spots, he demanded $8,000 weekly. But when they shorted him $700, he parked police cars outside their shops for a week until they paid up. For Adam Diaz, a bigger dealer making millions, Mike took $24,000 just to talk, then $8,000 a week to help, though he admits he couldn't do much beyond fake promises. He once saved Diaz by stopping a raid, telling a clerk to shut down a store before cops found anything. For example, Mike walked into Diaz's store with 2 Heinekens, opened them at the counter, told the guy shut it down, and left, knowing 40 narcotics detectives would hit the place in 90 minutes and find it clean. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 7, guilt hit him hard. Mike's guilt exploded when Officer Venable, a cop he didn't know, was shot dead by La Compañía associates he'd protected. He felt responsible, knowing his deals kept those dealers in business, and it crushed him as a human, not just a cop. He started drinking heavily and using drugs, hiding in his bathroom to cry while reading newspapers about crimes he tied to. This guilt pushed him into rehab 6 months later, a low point in his spiral. For example, after Venable's death, Mike locked his bathroom door, sat with the paper showing the murder, and sobbed alone, feeling like he'd helped cause it by taking drug money. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 8, arrest felt like freedom. Mike's 1992 arrest was a relief, not a nightmare, after years of stress from his double life. He was exhausted from lying to his wife, kids, the NYPD, and himself, always fearing he'd ruin everything. On May 5th, after dropping cocaine to his partner Kenny, Internal Affairs grabbed him for a drug test, found coke in his pocket, and arrested him, ending the charade. He thought he'd beat the charges and make bail, not expecting 14 years, but that moment lifted a huge weight. For example, as he sat in the precinct with 2 Internal Affairs guys breathing down his neck, unable to even change clothes, he felt peace knowing he didn't have to hide anymore. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 9, family suffered too. Mike's 12-year prison stint tore at his family, especially his parents, who'd raised him, to be honest. His mom, Carol, went to church daily to pray for him, but took 8 months to visit, too hurt and angry to face him sooner. She only went to court once, at sentencing, and didn't grasp 168 months meant 14 years until later, feeling shocked and betrayed. When Mike got out at 44, he didn't know his kids. His oldest was now 19, his youngest 13, having missed their whole childhoods. For example, at sentencing, Carol heard the judge say 168 months, sat stunned, and later said she wanted to reach through the bars and ask, "Why did you do this?" while holding back tears. Now let's move to the last takeaway. Takeaway 10, corruption still happens. Mike insists corruption thrives in the NYPD today, just not like his street-level drug days. Now it's higher up with big budgets and power plays like a chief paying a lieutenant $200,000 in overtime for sex. Street cops still grab scores, cash, or drugs they find, but it's less organized than his era's systematic deals. He says drug corruption is rarer now, but opportunities still pop up, and the system hasn't cleaned up. For example, Mike points to a cop today finding cash at a scene and pocketing it quietly like he once did, while bosses up top misuse funds in ways he never dreamed of as a beat cop. These takeaways dive deep into Mike's crazy life: sex, theft, drugs, guilt, prison, and more, while showing corruption's lasting shadow. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, please hit like below and share this video in your WhatsApp groups. You can also discuss about this video by commenting below. To get more such videos in your timeline, press the subscribe button below